i pomagał w niej. Zaczęliśmy rok temu dokładnie w kwietniu 2008, razem z Łukaszem kiedyś tam wieczorem rozmawiając na temat konferencji, na temat materiałów z Nanoga. Łukasz zapytał, czy widzieliśmy materiały. Tak, widziałem, fajne są, dobrze było coś takiego zorganizować. No i stwierdziliśmy, że robimy konferencję. Fajnie byłoby to zrównoważyć, czyli Łukasz reprezentuje Cisco, poprosiliśmy kogoś z Junipera, dokładnie Roberta Raszuka, który w tym momencie znowu jest w Cisco. Taką niespodziankę nam zrobił. Spotkaliśmy się, pierwsze spotkanie komitetu było w maju 2008, ustawiliśmy pierwszą konferencję na wrzesień. Później w lipcu Sylwester Biernacki z Pixa zorientował się, że jest konferencja i powiem szczerze, nie wyobrażam sobie innej osoby, która mogłaby robić w Polsce peering, bo nagłośnił konferencję bardzo, bardzo mocno i bardzo się zaangażował. Natomiast w lutym 2009 roku po drugim PLNOG-u bardzo dużo nam pomógł Marcin Mazurek z Allegro, dlatego że zainicjował sesję dostawców treści, zupełnie nowy pomysł, który teraz w tej konferencji będziemy testować, a jak okazuje się bardzo dobra inicjatywa. Komitet: Sylwester Biernacki w kolejności alfabetycznej nazwisk, Łukasz Bromirski, Marcin Mazurek, Robert Raszuk, jeszcze ja. Próbuję to wszystko pospinać, a czasami nie jest łatwo. Ok, jakie były założenia konferencji? I to jest ważne, bo chciałem, żebyście wszyscy zdawali sobie sprawę, że naszym celem jest to, żebyśmy się spotykali i rozmawiali na techniczne tematy. Czy to ma być taka konferencja inna od zwyczajowych, często spotykanych, głównie techniczne, ale do osób, które zajmują się infrastrukturą, sieciami i chcą się coś więcej dowiedzieć w postaci wykładów, ewentualnie w postaci kuluarów, które chyba są też równie ciekawe. Bardzo gorąco Was namawiamy do zgłaszania się w Call for Papers. To jest problem, znaczy obserwujemy takie zjawisko, że mało osób chce mówić o tym, jakie ma rozwiązania, jakie mieli problemy, jakie mają sukcesy i dobrze by było, żeby się to zmieniło u nas, czyli to środowisko, które tu się spotyka, to są ludzie techniczni, którzy wzajemnie niepotrzebnie często wyważają te same. Namawiamy Was do tego, żebyście zgłaszali się do wykładów i zapraszamy. Kolejna edycja będzie w marcu 2010 w Warszawie. Ważne informacje o konferencji. Wykłady odbywają się tutaj, sala 789, jak już wiecie. Po każdym wykładzie jest krótka przerwa, ale ta przerwa jest tylko poświęcona na zmianę prelegenta. Czyli jeżeli bardzo potrzebujecie i chcecie się skorzystać z napoju, oczywiście możecie, bo całodniowa jest przerwa kawowa, natomiast to jest taka króciutka przerwa po to, żeby wyrównać czas i żeby nie było opóźnień. Do lunchu odbywają się wykłady w ciągu obydwu dni w jednej sesji, potem dzielimy się na 3 ścieżki. W trakcie konferencji mamy taki konkurs, nazywa się PLNOG Passport. Dostajecie karteczki, które możecie uzyskać pieczątki do nich na stoiskach sponsorów. Jak osoba uzyska wszystkie pieczątki, zapraszamy do ruletki, która jest też na tym piętrze na końcu korytarza. Tam będą nasze koleżanki, które pomogą wylosować nagrody. Są ciekawe, fajne nagrody, jakieś konsole Wii, klawiatury, więc warto chodzić, odwiedzać sponsorów. Jak oni przyznają pieczątki, to jest właściwie ich decyzja, czyli czasami przyznają na zwykłą prośbę, czasami po dyskusji. Tutaj musicie się wykazać. Miejsca nie były numerowane w salach, o tym nie powiedziałem, czy jak się podzieli na 3 ścieżki, możecie się przemieszczać między salami, jest wystarczająco miejsc siedzących. Impreza w klubie Lizard, sponsorem imprezy jest PROIDEA Poland. Zaczyna się o 20 nie konferencją, czyli chcielibyśmy te panele dyskusyjne, te kuluary przenieść na imprezę i tam ewentualnie je kontynuować przez godzinę, półtorej. Później planujemy turniej bokserski na konsolach Wii. Planujemy zabawę do rana, tak, w Warszawie. Nie martwcie się, zabezpieczyliśmy Alka-Seltzer, jutro będzie na pewno dostępny dla każdego uczestnika konferencji na miejscu. Tak. Do turnieju VIP można się zapisywać przy stoiku rejestracyjnym. Plan lista, to naprawdę mieli być sponsorzy. Ok, pierwszy błąd z mojej strony. Na początek. Chciałem podziękować wszystkim sponsorom, którzy nam pomogli zorganizować konferencję. I tak naprawdę chciałbym ich wymienić teraz, żebyście też zobaczyli, kto dokładnie nas wspomógł. I naszym platynowym sponsorem jest firma Level 3. Jeżeli jest przedstawiciel, zapraszam. Bardzo chętnie przekażemy tabliczkę upomninkową. Gates. Come on, Andrew. Tak, powinien się przyłączyć na angielski. Okej, przepraszam. Złotym sponsorem jest firma Allegro Communication, Allegro, HP, firma Daying, F5 i zapraszam po kolei. Może jest ktoś może z Allegro Communication? Jest. Firma Allegro. Firma Daying. HP. F5 i Crowley. Jest ktoś może z Crowleya? O, witamy. Czy z F5 jest może ktoś? Nie ma jeszcze? Nie ma. Okej, ATM. Jest jakiś przedstawiciel ATM? Nie ma przedstawicieli ATM. Wczoraj był. No. Spix? Spix jest Sylwek. Dekix? Jest. Proszę bardzo. 3S? Wczoraj 3S miał warsztaty i po warsztatach była... O jest, Wojtek, jest. Cały. Dziękuję. Z nazwy NetArt. Jest. Cisco? Cisco. Jest Łukasz.
Ja mam tylko małą prośbę, ponieważ zauważyłem, że jest parę osób, które korzysta z wirelessu naszego i zapraszamy do tego. SSID jest PLNOG3, ono jest otwarte. Natomiast jak moglibyście nie bittorrentować i torrentować, to byłoby fajnie.
Słuszna uwaga. Okej, to jeszcze Nera Communication. Extreme. To ja Sonera. Big Vent. Networkers. Veracomp. I czy ktoś z NASK-u jeszcze może jest? Tylko dla pana z NASK-u za chwileczkę dostarczymy. Okay. Ale nie, to jest ważne, bo dla mnie najważniejsze, żebyście państwo zobaczyli generalnie filmy, które nam pomagają, które nas wspierają, dzięki którym możemy się tak dobrze bawić. Mam nadzieję, że będzie dobrze. I właściwie z mojej strony to chyba wszystko. Plan miejsca jest w planerach, znaczy w identyfikatorach. Otwieracie książeczkę, tam są informacje, gdzie co się znajduje. Przerwa kawa jest całodniowa, czyli jeżeli ktoś potrzebuje kawę, herbatę, napojów, zapraszamy serdecznie w korytarzu, wszystko się znajduje. I chciałbym teraz zapowiedzieć pierwszy wykład naszego keynote'a z Allegro gościa specjalnego. I would like to introduce Christian Maar. I powitajmy go brawami.
Thank you. put it in. Okay. Working. Okay, so thank you very much for. No, feel like an actor. So, thank you very much for the invitation to this nice conference. My name is Maar. I'm the CIO of Allegro. I have to apologize at the beginning for two things. Number one, as you can hear, even after 2 years, I'm not able to speak Polish. What a pity, yeah. But I at least understand a few words, so if you make bad jokes about me, it could be that I understand them, yeah. So, and number two is, even if the colleague mentioned that these presentations have to be technical, and technical, I as well have to disappoint you that my presentation is not very technical at all. But this follows me since 20 years, because since 20 years my mother's asked me from time to time that a day before somebody asked her what her son is making for a living, and she said that he's not able to tell what I'm doing, yeah, and she asked me, Christian, please explain me what you're doing, and I say, at the moment I'm working as a CIO for an e-commerce company, so I'm in charge for computers and telcos and networks and so on, and she resumes always and says, okay, I understand, you repair computers. And I say, not precisely, but somehow it looks like that I do this. And this causes always that all my friends, and my father calls me every 4 weeks and says, please, Christian, take your tool set and come to me and repair my telephone or my printer because it's not working at all anymore. Yeah? And they're very disappointed because, of course, I can't do it. Yeah? So this presentation is a little bit more an inside-out view about my company, which I'm working for. So I will give you, of course, a management summary. Then I will give you some introduction about Allegro, because I think everybody in Poland knows Allegro, but finally, I think you're not aware what's going on in the background. I will tell you what our actual business problems are and what the targets are, which were given out by the general management. And I will show you how we translated it into an IT strategy and what problems we faced in the past and how we want to address them in the future. Yes, I think I have 1 hour time. Typically, this is one of the nice parts of my job. I use this time fully. Yeah, so there is no chance at the end to ask me questions. So whenever you have questions during the presentation, feel free to ask me and interrupt me. Then I will try to answer them. So more or less 2 years ago, I was in London and signed a contract with a company which was at this time called QXL Allegro. And after a long conversation and before the ink was dry, they told me at the very end, you know what, Christian, and you have to spend most of your time in Poland. Yeah? Because previous year they're talking about that I have to work in London and in Switzerland and so on. But at the very end they said, you know what, we expect at least 95% of your working time to be in Poland. And you have to know that I have Polish roots, because my grandmother is from Silesia. So when I remember the old times when I was visiting them, early 70s, 71, 72, when this Cold War was ongoing, that it took me a long time to come to Poland, yeah, because it was only possible by car. And when I was there, very often, when you want to go from one village to the other, you had to take horses, which was, of course, not very sophisticated at the beginning after signing a contract. But looking back the last 2 years, and 1st October I'm 2 years here, I have to say that number one, I made a very good decision, and number two, I'm really excited to see how strong this country evolved. Yeah, because within 30 years, yeah, I can see it because I'm still living in Germany, that you at least reached the level of the other Western countries. You can see it at the moment when you look at the newspapers. All the other countries were suffering quite strong from the economic crisis. Poland was the only country who increased their GDP by 2%, beside all the other ones, yeah, which is a huge success. And on the other side, I'm working since 2 years for a great company. Yeah? Allegro is growing since 10 years with more than 40, sometimes even more than 50% continuously. Yeah? We're evolving. We are, I would say, one of the biggest e-commerce companies all over Europe. Yeah? Even if nobody knows us in the West, it's quite interesting. So I will give you some insight, yeah, who we are. In fact, we are the second biggest auction platform worldwide. after eBay. I want to show you one of our biggest problems at the moment, that our traffic or IT growth is not in sync. Can you put the light a little bit to the other side, because I feel a little bit like I would be in the prison. Quite hard to see anything. So we have a problem that our business growth is not reflected anymore one-to-one in the IT growth, which is a massive problem for us at the moment. I will give you some insight that we address one of the most modern techniques mentioned by Gardner last year in Cannes, and I will show you 2 or 3 programs which are running at the moment. We have not bad. So maybe I should turn. Yeah. So we have a program ongoing which is called Next Generation, where we have to address our problems concerning stability and scalability on our core platform. We have to address our, let's say, old-fashioned development process, because we have realized that we have to spend too much resources and too much time into maintenance instead of developing new things, yeah, which is also somehow critical. And I will give you some guidance what we have done in the past 6 months concerning a data warehouse. Because so far we were closer. So far we were not able to control our business guided by a data warehouse. It was simply done by web reporting and ad hoc analysis. So again, if you have questions, feel free to interrupt me. Okay, who is Allegro? At the moment, during peak times, we are delivering more than 520 million page impressions per day, yeah, which is a massive number, because you have to keep in mind that these page impressions are not delivered over a 24-hour series. So typically our business starts 6 o'clock in the evening and it ends 10 o'clock in the night, which means we're talking about 4 hours of our core traffic, yeah, which gives us a massive number of page impressions per day. And we're talking about 50% of growth, 50% of growth. So I assume that during this season, and the season will start roughly mid of October until end of December, we expect probably 700 or 750 million page impressions per day. Yeah, which gives us a huge traffic to our back office systems. At the moment, we have 14.5 million registered users. Yeah, I've given this presentation a few weeks ago, and there was a number stated 13 million. Yeah, I can see it from whenever I prepared this presentation. I use this slide, and I can see how fast these numbers are evolving. Yeah, which is quite interesting even for me. We have 90 million listed items in our system, so we tripled them within the last 3 years. And at the moment, we're talking about 900 employees, roughly 200 of them within IT. When I started, 1st of October 2007, I had 83 people in the IT department. Now the last number from yesterday was, I think, 216 within 2 years, yeah, which means I doubled it more or less every year, yeah, which is as well a very complicated situation, because growth always sounds very nice, but if you go over a certain point, yeah, it becomes really problematic. Yeah. Number one, these employers are not available on the market, especially not in Poznan. Yeah, we have to board more and more people from Warsaw, which is complicated, relocating them and all these things. And on the other side, finding staff who is able or capable of programming in PHP, massive high scalable sites, where whenever you press the button and release a line of source code to the production system, sweat is running down your head, yeah, it's also not the easiest way. So when we talk about some other facts, we have at the moment roughly 300 million objects, image objects within our systems. We opened just a few months ago in Germany a new data center. I will tell you further on a little bit more. And it was not possible simply copying them by rsync command, because the rsync command was after 1 week saying, you know what, too much for me, yeah, so please think about something different. So the only possibility we had is to establish the machinery in Frankfurt, and then to do it simply by waiting until this center in Frankfurt was filling up to the same level like we had it in Beyond. And this took 2 months to bringing this image basis in sync. We fire out 6 million emails per day, and keep in mind that we are not an email company. Yeah? We have at the moment more than 850 machines in our 2 data centers, and that's the same. This number is evolving each day. Yeah? So whenever I make the slides, I can ask for new information.
What's the reason you have a data center in Frankfurt?
I will show you a few slides. This will be addressed why and what and so on. We have 723 terabytes of storage in different storage systems, so we use more or less all famous storage providers like IBM 8K4 systems, like 3PAR systems, HP smaller and EVA systems. We are testing at the moment EMC CX systems, so whatever you know could potentially be in our data center. Yeah? We have a 10+2, but that's the only network thing I will tell you. Yeah? We have a 10+2 dark fiber channel link between our 2 data centers, and the power consumption at the moment is bigger than 250 megawatts per month. This number sounds not so interesting, but you have to know that, to give you a rough overview, that at the moment I'm spending more than 1 million for a data center in Poland. And at least at the moment 50% out of this 1.x million are, number one, to heat my systems because they need power to run, and the other half is spent for cooling them down. Yeah? So 50% are more or less, let's say, running through the roof, yeah? And this number is steadily increasing, yeah? So we punish all our other providers, no matter if it's telco, yeah, or the real estate guys or whatever, to reduce their prices, and we are quite often successful, yeah? But concerning electricity and power, we don't have any chance to negotiate at all. We receive a price and we have to pay it, no matter what we talk to them. Yeah, the market is still very, very monopolistic organized. And even comparing a German and a Polish center, no way. Yeah? So what they say you have to pay. And last but not least, we introduced a brand new hardware from HP Oracle, which is called HP Oracle Database Machine. And we are proud that we are still the only one worldwide, yeah, which is very nice because not even the US have this machine in production. Yeah? We are the only customer worldwide who uses this machine in production since the 1st of April. Which gives us a lot of attention even from the US, yeah, which is quite nice, yeah, because typically these inventions start in the US and then they drop to Western Germany and then they drop into the Eastern market. But we were able to buy this machine, yeah, and use it since a few months. Okay, so, and I love this slide very much because probably you can hear it by my German accent. I'm from Germany, and I was working for a few German companies. But if you collect together the 4 biggest retailers in Germany, yeah, and they're stationary and online as well, yeah, and even if you include Amazon.de, which is one of the biggest retailers in Germany, all of them together have less than 50% of our page impressions per day, yeah, which is even more nicer because you have to keep in mind that the German market is still a little bit more mature than this market, and of course it's much bigger than this market. Yeah, so if I would transport it to this economic numbers, yeah, we would be even much bigger than they are. Yeah, and again, nobody knows us. Yeah, if I talk to colleagues in Germany and tell them where I'm working, let's say I work for Allegro, they typically think about some musician things. Yeah, Allegro sounds like music, so probably you produce guitars or whatever, but we don't. In fact, business. We have 14 offices in 14 countries, I think so. Even this slide is evolving quite dramatically. But our core countries are, of course, Poland. This is where we make most of our money at the moment, still, yeah, and where we get our cash to invest to other countries. We have 3 other very important markets. Number 1, Russia. Number 2, Czech Republic and Hungary. Then we can see that these countries already have passed the line where we can see that they come into a hyper-growth phase, yeah, which is very nice for us. So we have seen that concerning new user registrations, these 3 countries already bypassed us, which gives us the indication that for our further growth they are very important. We have as well subsidiaries in Belarus, in Kazakhstan, in Romania, in Bulgaria, plenty of countries there. Yeah, and this slide is not so important, but important is that our general management made a very wise decision. Yeah, that we control and lead countries always from the country inside. Yeah? The only department who works centralized and gives centralized guidance is the IT department, but all the other ones are working locally. Yeah? Customer care is local in Czech, legal is local in Czech, HR is local in Czech. Yeah, everything which touches the customer is local, and this is what we can see, and I would say one of the essential bricks of our success. Yeah, because when we compare ourselves with our big brother eBay, we can see that they follow a total different strategy. Yeah, they control everything out of San Jose. So marketing, everything is centralized there. And we can see that in a few markets, they lost their markets. For example, Poland, yeah? For example, China, for example, Latin America, for example, the whole East, because they were not able of introducing local stuff and giving the power to the local stuff to evolve this market. So what we can see as well from our big brother, because since a few months our general management has given themselves and business strategy, which was quite important for us to get some guidance how IT should evolve in the future, is that eBay is under heavy pressure. This costs typically a lot of money in my country if mobile rings. so we can see that eBay is under heavy trouble, yeah, because the classical standard auction model is decreasing dramatically. Yeah. So if you look to eBay, if you look to us, you will realize that more than 90% of all transactions which are ongoing on this platform are based on spot buying, which means buy immediate instead of auctions. Yeah? Number one. Number two, Amazon is coming up like hell. Yeah? Even in a market which was decreasing 3%, Amazon was able to increase their business by 30%, yeah? Which makes them a bigger and bigger opponent for eBay. And so far, whatever they tried, they are not possible to defend Amazon and the other big retailers in this area, because they're still seen like a classical auction market. Yeah. So, and the other thing, what we can see and where we lost a little bit traction is the mobile commerce market. Mobile commerce is coming quite strong. Yeah. And we can see it in the Western region, and we can see in the US that a lot of very interesting ideas are invented at the moment, mainly in the US. And when you look at this lovely iPhone, you can see that the huge market was growing up within the past 24 months, more or less from nothing. Yeah. So Amazon is experimenting with an application where you can make a picture from whatever you want. You send it to Amazon, and within 10 minutes you get that information. What do you have pictured? Yeah. Let's say, for example, this Mac laptop. They give you a quote for this thing, yeah, and you can say, okay, I want to buy it just now. Even if this is done manually by 200 Chinese guys in China, anyway, yeah, it's a very nice, interesting idea that wherever you are, you can make a picture. They tell you this is a Mac laptop, and we can make you this quote for it, yeah. And you can see this market when you look to your own behavior. I was buying last week 3 mobile devices for my home. Yeah, I went to a stationery shop. I've looked for especially Siemens devices. I found them, and I've seen a price of 149 euros per device. Yeah, I've opened my BlackBerry, fired and Google search, and I realized that these devices are available for 109 euros somewhere in an online store. And I was able to negotiate with this reseller and say, you know what, these things cost 40 euros less in another shop. Yeah. So what we can do concerning the price? Of course, they reduced the price. Yeah? And look back 10 years ago if this was possible. I think, number one, nobody of us was thinking about going to a stationery shop and discussing about trousers or shoes, if you can get a discount based on a shop which is somewhere else. And of course as well, this techniques is changing dramatically the future, especially in our area. So that's the reason why we established a new business department, especially in charge for mobile commerce, and as well I will do the same on the IT side. I'm looking for a team consisting of 5 to 10 people dedicated only for mobile commerce. And another big problem of us, and this comes later on concerning this IT growth, is monetization is growing. Yeah. What we are realizing is that the people need more and more auctions to make the same business. Yeah. In the past, for example, it was enough to fire 2 or 3 or 4 auctions to sell in USB stick. Now the people have to fire 10 or more auctions to same one USB stick, because the competition becomes bigger and bigger, yeah, and the speed is becoming higher and higher, which sounds at the beginning nice to us, yeah, because we make more money, of course, yeah. But this is a very strong downside, because we have seen that a few categories are already not attractive anymore for resellers. Yeah, because if you look at, especially at a USB stick, which costs 50 or 30 zlotys, and you have to give away 10% for firing auctions on a platform, you will of course realize that there is no interest anymore for you, which causes of course that these people starting more and more to divert away from our platform. This can be seen quite good at eBay. Yeah? So they use our traffic to attract people, and the people come and see, but the first thing they try to do is to divert them away from our page with funny links or information. You know what, you can have this USB stick here for X zloty, but you can get it on our homepage for X minus 10 zloty, which becomes more and more dangerous for us in this area. And yeah, this is this here concerning transactions outside. So what the plan is at the moment is we want to be, of course, easier and safer. Very nice speech here. We will introduce a new mechanism which is called Universal Seller Tool, which enables us to get a little bit closer to the stationary environment. I've seen 2 years ago a presentation from a great company, which is a very famous company in let's say, looking for new techniques and futures in the new future. And they have said, which was quite interesting, that beside all online companies, they assume that in the next 5 to 10 years, not the online companies will rule. They think that it goes back to brick and mortar, that companies who have a widely spread stationary net will be much more powerful than all e-commerce companies, because a classical buyer, and I think all of us are classical buyers, want to have the choice to buy wherever they want. Yeah? So I want to have the right to go into a shop and buy a Siemens device there because I want to have it just now, independent from the price. Yeah? But as well, I'm interested in, if I'm looking for something very expensive, to get to dig into the web and look for the best price. Yeah? Which means companies who are able to have a multi-channel approach will have a clear advantage. And when you look at all the e-commerce companies who tried to go into the stationary market, yeah? For example, Dell is a very good example, and they tried to spread out a stationary network. They failed because it's very, very expensive. The opposite side, to jump into the e-commerce market with a stationary network, is much, much more easier than to make it in this way. So we think, and we are sure that it's a very good idea to go into a more universal approach, that we somehow try to get closer to stationary things. We will make a few, or we already made, and we will make another few price changes. We will introduce a dynamic category-based price model, yeah, because we have realized that it's much harder to sell a Nikon camera and USB stick compared to some trousers or shoes, and that the earnings or interest rates are totally different between these categories. So we already changed a little bit in this area. We will make a few things in the category area. We will try what eBay tried already a few years ago. Let's see if we can succeed. We will introduce shopping carts, where you can buy more than one item at the same time, which is in total opposition to auctions. We will make a few things in the product description area, and of course, as I already said, we want to go in much, much deeper into the presence on the mobile market. Okay, IT. When I started 2 years ago, we had the problem that we were in a very reactive mode. Yeah, classical, yeah, small companies growing very fast. You have an IT grows very fast. Everything grows very fast. Money is there like hell. Nobody takes care about what you spend and what you do. Yeah? You buy something, it's crap. You buy the next one, but you are in a very, very reactional mode. Yeah, so business comes and says, you know what? I want to make something. Please support. Yeah, they say, you know what? We have two less servers. I think we should buy a few other ones. Okay, we buy them. Yeah, so but you don't have any big influence at all to what they are doing. Yeah? Within the past years, we managed it to come to this stage, which means we have given ourselves a 36-month strategy, later more, and we as well had a much stronger alignment, or made it happen that we have a much stronger alignment with the business. Yeah? So they talk much deeper with us, what they want to do. Yeah? We discuss much often or more often about the plans from them and how we could do it together instead of simply getting orders from them, where we don't have any chance to say no, that's not possible or whatever. And the final stage which we want to reach is we want to come to a real competitive advantage. Yeah, we want to be seen as an sparring partner for business, where we have the chance to influence in a very, very early stage their decision-making process based on the information we have. Yeah? So, for example, concerning this picture, a nice picture tool from Amazon, yeah, which sounds very nice, yeah, but which is technically, let's say, at the moment not feasible because you don't have any picture method algorithms which have the capability to look for this stuff, and you don't have the database, and so on, so on, so on. It would be a nice information for them to tell them, you know what, don't go this way because it's not working at all. Yeah? We have given ourselves a 36-month strategy, which was mainly divided into business, application, technology, organization, and governance. Application-wise, we're talking about our core application as well as the back-office applications. Technology, we are talking about things which I mentioned later on, for example, green IT, data warehouses, yeah, flexible mesh-up networks, new architectures like Cisco's California architecture, and all these things. On organizational capability, we will talk about moving away from a classical hierarchical organization to a more metrics-driven organization, yeah, bonding together, supporting organization instead of having them in each other pillar. And governance and funding, we're talking about introducing a project portfolio management system, which is already in place. We're talking about PM divisions, which are as an umbrella acting for all IT divisions, and so on. Now we come a little bit to data center stuff. When we look back into the past, yeah, and when we look at our actual environment, we can see that we have roughly 500 machines and beyond at the moment, spread it out on a 5-tier architecture, and we have roughly 328 machines in Frankfurt. We decided not to fill up Frankfurt in the same way like we filled up beyond, because we already made one failover test, and it has shown us that we can cope with our traffic with this amount of machines. So there is no need to fill up 100. So, but that's in fact the most important slide I've told you, is our business growth, which is the green curve, is 40% or a little bit higher than 40%. And the red curve shows the growth in our most important key performance areas. Yeah? To grow 40% business-wise, we needed 93% more auctions in the same time, and we needed 93% new listed items. So we nearly doubled on the KPI area to get the same amount of business traffic. And we look here downstairs, you can see that this led, of course, to an unbalanced growth on the technical side. Yeah? So our database increased 56%, the queries per second increased 80%, 63% more traffic on the network area. You have 90% more web servers introduced to make the same business, to grow 40%. Our all server growth was 51%, and storage was growing by 61%. The only KPI which was less than this was our organizational growth. Yeah? We made it happen that we only grow 35%. Yeah? But all the other things, we're scaling out not 1-to-1 anymore. They scale out with a factor of max 1.8, yeah, and an average, I would say 1.3, 1.4, yeah, which is at the moment not important, yeah, because we have money, we earn like hell, and nobody's taking care of if I have to buy 10 web servers from HP or IBM, or if I have to buy 50 of them. Nobody is challenging this. But we can see from the other companies like eBay, Amazon, and whatever, yeah, that they are sooner or later faced problems concerning IT because they became too expensive. That's the reason, for example, why Amazon is selling out their cloud computing stuff, EC2, EC3, whatever. It's not because they want to do it, and it's not because this is a nice business model, it's because they want to refinance their IT. Amazon has a budget of 120 million US dollars per year only for IT. Yeah? And this is not their core business at all. Their core business is selling books, DVDs, and other things. So we realized that if we do not change anything, yeah, we definitely will be changed by our surrounding environment. Yeah? So this was a matter of fact, and we were able to see it in a few areas that the business evolution was pushing us quite hard to think about changes. Yeah? I think we are sure that we can survive the next 12 or 24 months easily with our existing architecture, with the way we were doing it 10 years ago, but we can see definitely that within the next 18 or 24 months, yeah, if we do not anything, something really serious could happen to us. So I mentioned Gartner. Last year they fired out like a list what is upcoming. Yeah, virtualization, like always. Yeah, like a long time ago. Even if it's working on the paper, it's not working in reality at the moment. Cloud computing, also a very nice buzzword. We checked out 3 or 4 potential technologies, but so far we didn't have success in this area. Specialized systems, and business intelligence and green IT. The red ones are the ones we are addressing a little bit more aggressive. Some of them successful, other ones not. Yeah. As I told you, green IT is a very important factor for us because 50% of my budget or of the colocation budget is fired to energy. Yeah. We're trying desperately to look there for a solution. Oh, nicer. I'm here. It's over? Not at all. Yeah. So this is one of our focal points. Yeah. Green IT. Because as I told you, the machinery is running with 60-70% only from the time from, I would say, 1600 during the night until 2200 at the end of the day. That's it. Yeah. So in the rest of the time, I could easily shut down at least 60 or 70% of all my machinery. I wouldn't use it at all. Yeah? Nobody would realize if I shut down 70% of all blades in the web and application and cache area that something is not there, because we could still easily deliver all the requests. But in fact, it's not possible. In fact, at the moment, no hardware vendor has a proper mechanism, yeah, to give us a solution to say, you know what, you can easily shut down and we guarantee you that the systems are coming up, number one, and even more important, you can shut down, but we can promise you that when you do it 600, 700, 800 times a year, that the systems are reliable for 3, 4, 5 years, because they typically tell you the best thing you can do with a blade or whatever is keep it running forever without shutting it down, because shutting down and up is much more aggressive for a system than keeping it online all the time. So we have seen the fact that when we look at our overall services, yeah, because besides Allegro we have of course Automoto, Autodome, Alevacazzi and a few other classified sites, that if you want to introduce a new floor in our nice skyscraper, yeah, we have realized that the basement, yeah, has to be extended typically twice as big. Yeah, we can see it becomes thinner and thinner at the top, yeah, and the basement is not capable anymore of keeping this weight, yeah, and we see that the scale out factor has gone above 1.5, 1.6, 1.7, yeah. So introducing one new web server or one new cache server or whatever is not giving us 100% more power. It's giving us less than 50% power at the moment, which is based on a few facts in this area. So the first thing we did, and now comes this data center question. Last year we fired out an RFP, request for proposal. We did it together with a German company called Bearing Point. We invited 28 companies which were offering colocation services all over Europe. So we invited companies from Germany, from Czech, from Hungary, from Russia, from France, from the UK, from Netherlands, from Poland, of course. Yeah, so plenty of companies. 28 of them. We fired a clear request, XLS, what we request from them. Of course, we requested a price, and of course, we requested space for further growth. We requested information concerning network connectivity. We requested information concerning how they cool their system in the old way, new way, yeah, cold aisle, hot aisle, or whatever, yeah, how efficient they are, and so on. And after conducting this RFP, we narrowed the list down to 10, then to 5, then to 3. Yeah. At the end, we had 2 German companies, 1 Swiss company, 1 Polish company on the short list. The very short list of 4 companies. We decided to make the strategic decision that we don't want to have the second data center in Poland, yeah, because if this ugly SS-20 rocket from Russia flies to Poland, the likelihood that it destroys both countries is very high. Yeah, we said probably it's a better idea to move abroad, yeah, to have really clear disaster recovery capability. So we wiped out Poland, and the remaining 2 were Switzerland. This was a political issue we had, but we wiped it out as well. And at the end, we discussed with Telecity and eShelter from Germany. Yeah, and the outcome, to make it short, is at the moment, if you want to rent a new data center, yeah, the cheapest and best and the place where you have the biggest choice is definitely Frankfurt at the moment. You have plenty of companies there, yeah, offering all different kind of services to you, starting from nothing to everything. They have by far the strongest connectivity to all important network providers, and they have by far the best prices, which was as well quite interesting for me, because I expected that Poland and the eastern countries are much cheaper than the western countries, but in fact they weren't. To give you a number, yeah, we saved 40% compared to our actual provider. So actual provider versus new provider was the saving 40%. Because the market here, yeah, is still in a phase where you don't have so much choice. Yeah? In Frankfurt, you have at least 30 companies or even more offering you the same service. And of course, yeah, demand and supply give you a price. When you ask for a data center in Poland, you always come back to 3, 4, max 5 potential providers. I don't want to say any names because I'm sure there are a few guys here. So I don't want to make them better than they are. It's simply based on the fact, of course, yeah, if you have less supply, when you have a big demand, the price is high. Yeah? If you have a very huge supply and if you have less demand, the price is low. And this is what we figured out in Germany, quite simple. Yeah? But the other nice thing was, we did it once before. Yeah? Before I came in 2007, we had to migrate a data center in Poznan from an old-style governmental institution to a very new modern one, from Beyond, to say a name. This is where we are, in fact, at the moment. And it took us a long time, yeah, to go from one point to another, which was only, let me say, I think 400 or 500 meters distance to move the stuff. And it took us from beginning of the RFP until we pulled the power plug and everything was ready, 6 months. RFP fired out and engaging our system in Frankfurt was 6 months. And we had a lot of hurdles to jump over because we realized that a few of our vendors, even if they're working internationally, were not able to give us warranty cross-border. So we had warranties which were based only for Poland. We moved our stuff to Frankfurt and we realized that a lot of our machines went out of warranty. Very unusual for big companies, huge fights. Yeah? We had to insure our machinery from left to right, and a few things were not working perfect, but the center is running now. Of course. No, we have two. One is in Poland and the other one is Frankfurt. So Frankfurt is disaster, yeah, which means all our traffic at the moment runs out of Beyond, but Frankfurt is the disaster case or disaster center. But even in the meanwhile, we have realized that we can work in a semi-active mode. Yeah. So we have realized, or I have learned as a non-technician, as I told at the beginning, that light speed is not endless. Yeah, and even if I'm a fan of enterprise, there is nothing like warp. Yeah, distance which is longer than 500 kilometers causes that you have a latency of 12, 13, 17 milliseconds, and we tried everything, yeah? And we have the problem, you can assume if you have an auction ongoing and somebody has a 17 millisecond latency and the other one has 0.0.2 milliseconds latency, that the guy who is in Poland probably has a small advantage, yeah? And so that was the reason why we were not able, we discussed with all important companies, Oracle, IBM, Cisco, and you can name them, yeah? It's not possible to keep these two sites in sync with an appropriate amount of time. I was really wondering, yeah, because I think, yeah, light speed and so, but 500 kilometers can be measured even within light speed. And again, warp is not available, so problem, yeah. So we can't have a full active mode, yeah, because our core database has to stay on one place, at least at the moment, yeah. But this means with our actual architecture, it's not possible to run 2 data centers firing on one database. No go. And nobody was able to give us a solution for this. And again, we discussed with plenty of companies. So what we have now in place is we decided to have our core database Allegro in Beyond, which works quite nice. We diverted a few services to Frankfurt. For example, Automoto, Autodome, Oliver Katzia are running out of Frankfurt, and I'm sure you wouldn't even realize it. Yeah? And we made, in a shorter period of 6 months, a full switch over to Frankfurt, which I've never done before, by the way, yeah. So I decided not to be in the office when we do this. So, but because this is somehow a very interesting situation in the life of a CIO, if he gives the order to shut down all the systems on the right side and hopes that they come up on the other side, yeah. You don't do it so often. We did it, and it took us 4 hours, yeah. It took us, after 6 months, it took us 4 hours to move all our services from left to right, which was something really, really interesting, and we have a complex architecture in the background, as you can assume. And it was even better than we expected, because we realized that all of a sudden our images were not delivered proper. Yeah, we had an image problem, and within 5 minutes we were able to fire all the traffic out of Frankfurt, and only the images were delivered by Beyond, which was a nice experience, yeah. Some sweat, but after sweating phase of 5 minutes, everything was running quite well, yeah. And we're in the middle of a planning phase that some of us, again, not me, yeah, will unplug hard beyond within the next 4 weeks. Somebody goes there, unplugs it, and we will see and check out if everything then goes not manually, automatically from left to right. But we are quite confident that it will work. Yeah? So I think he answered your question. Why Frankfurt? Because quite simple, money rules. Yeah, big choice on the one side and an excellent price on the other side. So another big problem of us. Our actual core platform, which means Allegro itself, yeah, based on a PHP architecture using Oracle database, migrated 2 years ago from MySQL to Oracle, is a 6-year-old core platform. Yeah? And whatever you learned during your studies, in the real world, yeah, it's not possible anymore to write applications which last longer than 2, 3, max 4 years. Then the game is over. Yeah? So there's all theoretical approaches. Yeah, make huge UML diagrams like I learned it, and make tons of specifications and discuss 24 months. And when everything is ready, then you start programming, and you need another 2 years until it's ready. And then you have an application which lasts for at least 5 years. This times are over. Yeah? We can realize that our application, which is 6 years old, causes a very, very huge problem, that we have a very bad poor maintenance development ratio. At the moment it's 60-40. So if I have 10 resources and I bond it to Allegro, 6 of them are maintaining what I have and 4 of them are developing new stuff. And it's decreasing like hell. Yeah? So we assume next year if we don't do anything, we get a ratio of 7-3. Out of 10 people, 7 people are taking care for performance tuning, stabilization, small bugs, and all these things. And only 3 of them are able to develop new things, which is a quite interesting cost factor on the one side. Yeah? On the other side, with the actual architecture, we don't have any scale-out possibilities anymore. We can't scale vertically. The only solution we have in place is scaling out vertically, which is simply based on the fact that we are using a P590 IBM IIX cluster, Oracle database, that we could place another machine beside, which is number one, quite expensive. Yeah? And number two, whoever worked with Oracle real application cluster knows that this is on the paper working always quite well, but in reality it's a huge challenge to have more than 2 or 3 or 5 or 6 machines working in a cluster together and coping with incoming traffic. Because all the database vendors tell you always when they want to sell something, you don't have to make any modifications at the application at all. In fact, you have to modify dramatically your application, otherwise you don't gain any profit from a cluster architecture. So, and of course, what we want to do, and we are in the middle of it, is we want to utilize the second data center, which is a must because it costs money, yeah, and you can't afford spending more than $1.x million for a data center which does nothing, only coping with smaller services. Yeah. The primary intention was, of course, to using 2 data centers in an active mode and covering each other on a cross-node way. Yeah. So when center 1 goes down, the other one should take over, and if center 2 goes down, the other one should take over. This was the problem, destroyed by this not possible solution of having the database on 2 places in the cluster mode. Yeah. So what we are doing now is we are moving away from our monolithic Oracle architecture, where we have one single database where everything is inside, to an architecture so-called shard architecture. Shard. Yeah. Many companies use it at the moment. They split the database into many small pieces. It's even possible that you have one table which is one new database scheme. Yeah. So which enables us on the one side that we will be able to scale out vertically, which means whenever we have problem on one side, we could easily open another data center and fire in there more hardware and scale it out per country. And we will be able to scale out on the vertical axis. Yeah? We split it into users and listings and biddings and a few other things, which means we can go from then on in 2 axes, which gives us, I want to say forever, but I will say for a very long period of time, the guarantee that we can scale out in the future. But having said this, yeah, we started quite simple, and everybody said it's like this, yeah. But in fact, it isn't. We realized, for example, that we have to touch in the next 4 months more than 38,500 SQL statements. and change them dramatically. Number one, we have seen that we are digging into more than 300,000 lines of PHP source code. Because we are not able to isolate the problem. You have to dig into everything what is there at the moment. And we have realized that we would gain, of course, scalability and other things, but we have realized that, for example, we would have a need of much more Oracle enterprise licenses. So which is, again, a very interesting factor, because you have at the moment a few licenses, and then you go to enshroud partitioned architecture, and then you realize that you need 3, 4, 5, 6 times more enterprise licenses from Oracle. Whoever bought them knows that this is a quite interesting cost factor ongoing. So, and even if you negotiate quite hard with them, it's still a lot of money, because Larry Ellison wants to drive his huge yacht, and invest a lot of money into the America's Cup and so on. So, problem. Next thing is, and it led us quite fast to another quite interesting program, development process. I was myself developing a few years ago, and I know that you know what, the worst thing you have to do is documentation, writing help, document your source code, using all these interesting things like UML and whatever. So you can assume after 10 years of existence of this company that we have a lot of undocumented source code. We have a few different methodologies concerning software development. Scrum on the one side, rapid application prototyping on the other side, and a few things, but we didn't have so far a clear process in place. And this was quite easy seen at the very beginning. This means idea management. The business was always running around and telling us that they have at least 170 projects in their pipeline, what they have to do, otherwise we have a huge problem. 170. Starting from very small ones to very big ones, but nobody was there, and that's the pain of a successful company who said, hey, is this project really bringing money back to us, or is it simply why you want to have it? Of course, there are a few projects which are flagged strategic, you have to have them, but it can't be that 99.9% of this project are strategic. Of course, the majority of this project has to have something which is called ROI. They should bring back money sooner or later instead of only investing it. So, and we have defined 8 domains. The most important thing is that we have centralized supporting units in a new division, which is called SDSD, Software Development Support Division, because I have 3 development pillars, and all of them started introducing release managers, change managers, security managers, quality managers, and you name them. You have plenty of positions. And even if I said from the early beginning, hey, I want to have this centralized a little bit, or at least cross-sharing, they always denied and said, that's not possible, because Allegro is totally different than Automoto, and this is totally different than Oferia and whatever, So what we did, we opened a new pillar, which was called SDSD, where we bond together all quality, all security, all release, change, and so on resources. Right now they're plugging me down from the stage. I have to hurry up. Okay, so, and released this new process, which is in fact in place since the 1st of September, so a few days ago. And we introduced project portfolio management, which also has shown us already that in fact we're not talking about 170 projects, because there we request ROI calculations. We narrowed them down already to less than 40 projects, where we can really see that the business side is aware what they are doing. This is the new development process. As you can see, I like enterprise. So we moved away from a classical hierarchical organization, which I can see quite often in Poland, by the way. That you have a classical boss on the one side, and then you have 3, 4 whatever directors, and then you have team managers and so on. We kept, of course, this structure, but we introduced as well something which is called a metric structure, where we brought in this cross-organizational functions which have to take care about future architecture. I think we have already 5 search engines in place, which is very interesting information, that we have different services who have, of course, to search for certain things, but that we not reuse search functionality, even if it's written in the same program language, PHP. Automoto uses a totally different techniques than Autodom, and compared to Allegro, we use as well another totally different architecture for search. So when we look back to the skyscraper, we want to have a lean architecture, and we're in a very good way on it. Yeah, we want to be easy to expand as well. We're in a good way because we have the data centers and the other things. Safety and effectivity is a very important thing. So we are here at the moment. Q3, this SDLC is released, and in the fourth quarter, we are sure that we will have the right project portfolio management software in place to push business and the other stake owners that they take a little bit more care about what they want to do. Okay, last but not least, data warehouse. I think 3 slides are left. We have realized already a few months ago, a quite interesting sentence, that we do not know what we don't know. In fact, if you work for a successful company, nobody is taking care about costs. Yeah, nobody is taking care about effectivity. Yeah, it simply runs. If you go by 43% per year, nobody is challenging important factors. Yeah, so and in fact, we were not able to have a common view, through our business. Yeah, so if finance and administration were requesting information like, hey, could you please tell me how much turnover we make with a certain user, this causes a request which runs 3, 4, 5 days. Yeah, because we have different databases for Automoto, Autodomo, Alivacatia, Platnosti, and Allegro, and there is no single view on a customer. Yeah, mainly we were interested, of course, in Allegro because that's the cash cow, and nobody was, let's say, digging into the deep concerning other ones. But we can realize more and more, that this becomes an essential factor for the future for us. Yeah, because of course we are interested more and more where it makes sense to invest money, and where it makes sense to avoid investing money in certain areas. Yeah, and it's quite interesting if somebody calls our customer care department. And the mask pops up, and he has a request concerning Allegro, and the mask says, you know what, this is a very poor customer. He only makes 3 zlotys revenue per month with us, and he says, I don't have to handle him with care. Yeah, but on the other side, he makes plenty of thousands euros turnover with us on the Automoto side because he's probably a huge car reseller. Is a huge information loss, which causes many problems, and at the moment we don't have a full view on this. And now I'm talking only about one country. Of course, we are interested in to see how certain categories run Europe-wide. Yeah, is categories where electronics are inside, less USB sticks, are they more successful in Czech than in Russia compared to Poland? And if so, why? Why do they need more and why do they need less? And all these things. So a huge information gap. Back to this IT strategy, we have diverted 20% of our budget, which is a lot of money, only for data warehousing. Yeah? So 20% of all my budget, and keep in mind that 50% of it is already bonded to salaries and insurances and all these things, are diverted only for a data warehouse. Where I talk about right stuff, where I talk about hardware, where I talk about infrastructure and all these things, and consulting, where we plugged it in. And what we reached there so far is last year we made again an RFP. Yeah, Germans love RFPs because other ones are making the work for them. So we're investigating quite heavy potential solutions in the market from IBM, from HP, from other ones, and we were informed that HP and Oracle are delivering this new database, whatever machine. So we tested it. We made a huge test concerning BI software. We challenged Cognos, Business Objects, Oracle, and MicroStrategy. At the end of the day, we decided that we want to walk instead of best of breed with a single vendor relationship. So we selected Oracle from the bottom to the roof, which was based, of course, on the fact that our production system is running in Oracle. We want to have a good interlink. Yeah. So everything is done. We've bought the machine. We made everything ready. The machine was delivered December 2008. And since 1st of April 2009, our data warehouse is in production. Yeah, it's ready, it runs. Yeah, and to give you a few figures, we're talking about roughly 10 terabyte of data in the data warehouse, and we're talking about at the moment 200 million euros based on clickstream analysis. Yeah, our page impressions are converted, translated, blah blah blah, and put into the data warehouse, which are 200 million at the moment, and we expect 500 million per day in mid of October, which is a huge amount of numbers which have to be crunched. We again made all this RFP crap. Yeah, so the actual architecture looks like that we have a production system on P590 machines. And we have a data guard copy, a logical standby on the same machines because we want to avoid interfering our production system. We had it in the past that we fired huge SQL queries to gather information out of it, which shut down or not, which slowed down our core database system. And from there we copy into a staging area, which is already on this new data warehouse machine, where we make all cleansing and staging and so on. And then from there on we go to the production environment where we have all data marts and so on. This Oracle database machine is quite interesting for everybody who doesn't know it, because it has a very interesting storage management system inside. So our fastest 8K systems, which are probably not the worst systems on the market, gives us probably 1 gig throughput per second. And this Oracle machine based on Exadata storage systems gives us between, let's say, 4 to 10 giga throughput based on the disk systems, fiber channel connected, InfiniBand connected, and so on, with a very, very, very fair price-performance ratio. Yeah, it was a very nice idea to do this because, for example, we had queries which were running more than 24 hours on our production system, which are narrowed down to less than 30 minutes without any performance optimization. On the one side, and on the other side, we have now the possibility to, for example, drop all our indices. The data warehouse is not using indices at all anymore. Yeah? Based on this ASM technology and Exadata technology from Oracle, it's simply so highly optimized on the hardware side that you don't have to take care so much on the software and architectural side to have success. Picture of the dashboard, which was not seen before in our company. So this is my IT dashboard where I can see gross merchandise value, or where I can see how my budget runs, green, where I can see the actual SLAs. Yeah, of course I can drill down to whatever point I want, what projects are ongoing, if you have problems, and how the index page speed is evolving or declining or decreasing, always compared to the previous year. Yeah? So, and to prepare such a dashboard, if everything is ready on the data warehouse side, takes not more than, at the moment, max 2 weeks. Yeah? We are firing out every week now dashboards to all the departments, and it's quite interesting to see how fast they are adopted and how fast they are used. Yeah? Even if they were not there before, business requires more or less each day new dashboards to be able to dig into their data and to have the proper information how to continue. So what we have done is implemented. At the moment we are firing out dashboards, and for the future we are talking about web mining and operational system access for users. In fact, we do not take care if anybody sells on our platform a Nikon D90 camera, or if the next one sells an EOS Mark 5D. We don't take care if they sell USB sticks or radios or whatever. We as man in the middle are happy when they sell something. Yeah? But of course a super seller or other sellers are quite strong interested in, why the hell I can't sell Nikon and my colleagues are selling Canon or Sony or whatever. So what we want to do is we want to expose our data warehouse capabilities, and we'll give super sellers probably from next year on the possibility to dig into our data warehouse from external and to make analytics based on their super seller store. Yeah? Is it a good idea to offer MD or SD cards if I sell a Nikon? Because cross-selling activities. Yeah? Why the hell didn't I sell for the last 4 weeks no Nikon D90 cameras? Because probably other ones are much cheaper than I am. Why? Yeah? And so on. So these questions are not interesting for us, but they are very interesting for super sellers because that's how they want to control their business. So this will be introduced, I think, next year. And I think if I'm right, I am ready. So, very abrupt ending. Yeah. So if you have questions, I hope it was not too boring. Not talking about OSI level 127 and IPv6, but I think this was done by purpose from him because you start always with something very boring, yeah, and you think, hell, how will I survive these 3 days? Yeah, but you will see now are coming all these nice technical presentations where you can discuss about OSI levels and why the hell nobody's implementing IPv6, yeah, and why the hell is Cisco, California, and FOE, and so on. Not you see, I know at least a few phrases. Yeah. So, okay. Any questions so far? Yes.
Raza Rizvi from Links. You said your window of business was 6 o'clock in the evening till 10 o'clock at night. Is it deliberate strategy to stay away from offering services in English language?
Nice question. Yeah. So let me say it in these words. At the moment, we are quite happy, yeah, that eBay is on one side of the fence and we are on the other ones. Yeah. So eBay left this market, which was, let's say, a big wonder for us, but in fact they failed here. Yeah. And Germany is one of their core markets. Yeah. Germany is, I think, the second biggest market after the US, or behind the US. So my colleagues in GM don't share my opinion that it's a nice market. Yeah. So they say, don't wake up a sleeping dog. Yeah. They don't want to start a battle. And in fact, the battle already starts, yeah, because we can see that eBay drops in again because they will introduce mobile.de or mobile.pl. Yeah. And mobile.pl is an eBay brand. So probably they will change their minds if they start attacking us from behind, that we potentially. So we had the original mother, QXL Ricardo, was a company listed in London, yeah, and the mother was all of a sudden in March 2008 or 8, bought by a company which is called Naspers MIH, which is the biggest pay TV and the biggest print provider in South Africa. And Naspers is a quite interesting company because they invest since 10 years every nickel they earn into e-commerce. Naspers owns, for example, a huge stake in Mail.ru. They own Gado Gado. They own the biggest internet messaging provider in the world, which is called Tencent QQ, with 360 million registered users, and all the time 50 million users online. So they have a huge variance or huge bunch of different companies in this area. So coming back to the answer, at the moment, at least my colleagues don't have any plans to drop into English or German or whatever countries. What a pity, yeah? Would be nice. Then, of course, we would have the problem, yeah? But at the moment, the problem is simply that it's not possible to shut down the systems. Okay?
Another question?
Hi, you already said it would be nice to start talking later on about why nobody's implementing IPv6. My name is Arne Meulenkamp from the Ripen CC. Do you have any plans to implement IPv6?
So we come in now to a technical question. I'm happy when I can connect all my PCs at home with IPv5 or whatever. But I have a very nice guy sitting here somewhere, Marcin Mazurek, and I'm sure he will address that we are. Do we say something, Marcin, or not? Say yes, please. Of course. Yeah? It was a rhetorical answer. So.
We are having a look at it, and we try to recognize the subject. But the target of ours and my bonus is depends very strongly on our stability. So in test environment, it's very easy. You can play with IPv6, but in production, our core business is money and providing stable services to our customers. So we cannot rely on IPv6 right now because simply Cisco or other vendors are not delivering stable products, mature products in IPv6 world. So as long as it won't be needed and from the market, we won't do it. I don't think so.
Of course, not my opinion, yeah, but he rules there. Yeah, what should I say? Yeah, but in fact, it's like he said, yeah, we can't afford playing with things because, especially in the network area, Marcin, thanks, we are stable since, I would say, 10 to 12 months, but we had a huge hassle before, yeah, concerning VPNs and F5s and Cisco's, and bringing all this crap together was a quite interesting experience, yeah, because simply by modifying VPNs, we shut down our system for a few hours, yeah, which means I would follow the track, yeah, and I will probably give him some target to have at least a look at it, but at the moment, it doesn't look like to be very mature. And this is honestly what I've read in the papers. I, of course, follow this market, yeah, and I'm wondering all the time, because for me as a non-technician, it looks very simple, yeah. Taking another octal, yeah, putting it beside and thinking, oh, what the hell should go on? But somehow, what I've understood is that I've read an article last week especially about this, and they were wondering that everybody's talking about it, and even if the techniques is ready, yeah, nobody is going to it. It's even worse because somehow they try to bypass it with special solutions, but there was no clear answer. I can't give it to you, sorry.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
I would like to introduce next speaker, Andrew Heinz. Krótka bardzo przerwa, jeżeli Państwo bardzo potrzebujecie kawę, tak? Jeżeli nie, to prosimy o zostanie. Prosimy o zostanie.